Good morning, welcome back to my Transcontinental Race 2023 daily coverage. Let's have a little look at the race tracker and see what's been going on overnight. And as we know, yesterday Christof Strasser crossed the finish line as I was recording this, and now he's been joined by the top four riders. Christof Strasser was the official winner. Let me just grab up the results. Christof Strasser won the race, 208 hours and 30 minutes. That was 8 days, about 8.5 days, I think it was the official race time. Robin Gempelle, he was about 6 hours behind in the end. That was a fantastic race between the two. They really pushed each other, but ultimately Kristof, it was just riding faster at the end. And we'll go and check out the ride versus run shortly. And to be honest, the ride of the race for me, obviously we've been really focused on the front of the race, Kristof and Robin. Anatol, he's absolutely flown in the last third of the race, and he's brought himself up into a fairly comfortable third position. I'm really impressed with that. He's a young guy. I don't really know that much about him. I don't know much about his history, but I just know he's like 22, 23. Pretty sure it might be one of his first attempts at the TCR, so I think he's got to be highlighted for a guy that could potentially win this thing in the future. Tim de Wit, he's finishing the last sort of half hour or so in fourth place, and then we've got the rest of the chase pack still heading in on that final parcours. So hopefully I can follow my challenge working. So as you can see, Will Vosden, Robert Muller, they're fairly close on the final parcours. Obviously it's not over till it's over. We know that is quite a tricky off-road section. And then the rest of the chase pack in here, Florian Moreau's in there, Sebastian Starks and a few others. So those guys are going to be trickling in later in the day. But I guess the big news and the exciting news now is the women's race. There's been some drama. All focusing around that 4A and 4B parcours, and Jamie Wilson. I must say, firstly, Sherry Cardona and her partner Jerome in the pairs race, they're doing an amazing job. I'm really impressed at how far up they are in the field as a pair, because normally it's not the quickest way to race. Sherry is the first woman on the road as a pair, and they've just hit the final checkpoint in Midjola. But the women's solo race has just got very exciting. So Jamie Wilson has pretty much been leading from the start. However, Maria Holcroft has been gradually closing down on her. But if we zoom in on the parcours here, we can see that they are basically together. So Jamie and Maria are together, and it's the classic. We've been asking this question from the very start. Is it quicker to go over the mountain, take a massive risk, or do the tarmac detour around the edge? And Jamie's taken the detour. Maria's gone straight over the top, and that risk really seems to have paid off for her at the moment. So essentially the two of them are sat together with the media car there as well. So hopefully we get some really good images of the two of them together coming through the Transcontinental Race feed. It is all to play for in the women's race going into the last day or so, probably day and a half. So I can't wait to see how that pans out over the coming days. So that's what's going on in the race. I've got a few more days worth of updates, so hopefully I'll be able to cover the end of the women's race. I'm actually heading to Kyrgyzstan for the Silk Road mountain race in a couple of days time, so I will have to I won't be able to do any updates while I'm out there, so hopefully I can cover the rest of it. While we're talking about the coverage, I just want to say thank you to Holy Fat for supporting me to do this and the Tour de Vie coverage. Obviously, by now they make these bars and nut butters, and I'm taking those with me out to Kyrgyzstan because they'll basically last the whole race, and that could get me over a mountain in emergency. Great stuff. Follow the link below in the description if you're interested. And the other thing to say is there's plenty of racing going on at the moment. Obviously, I'm going to be racing myself, so I won't be able to do any coverage of the Silk Road Mountain Race. However, my plan is, once I'm back, I'm going to do a semi-regular update kind of videos, just maybe not daily updates of the races, but for example, there's GB Duro and Silk Road Mountain Race starting on the same day, 12th of August. So when I'm back, I'll basically do a summary of that, and I'll try and make it a regular thing because I think it's been popular. So if there's anything you'd like to see in that kind of thing, just drop it in the comments. And yeah, if you want to subscribe to make sure you see that would be very much appreciated, and I'll have a load of content about the Silk Road mountain race once I'm back. But let's get back onto the TCR. So one thing to talk about is we've seen a lot of the riders have actually taken the coastal route. So I initially on the ride with GPS, I kind of went for the obvious straight line route through the mountains off the top of the first checkpoint. But we've actually seen a lot of the riders basically going back down that final part, well, the 4C parcour, and then heading around the coast. So basically I just ran the numbers on it. So this is the kind of a revised version. This is what a lot of people are taking. I mean, it's not going to be exact because it's free routing, but this gives you the rough idea of the comparison. So I made it about 310 miles for the coastal route versus 287 for the mountainous route. So it's 20 miles longer. However, look at the elevation. It's about 6,650 meters climbing between there and the finish if you go the direct mountain route. But if you go around the more southern coastal route, it's 5,400 meters. Bearing in mind that final parcour has a lot of that climbing, so you're saving a massive chunk. Almost 1,500 meters worth of climbing. So I think a lot of the riders have decided that they're just going to take the easy, flatter route. It's 20 miles longer, but it's even if it's not quicker, it's probably going to be less energy expenditure. And I mean, we'll look at some of the stories on Instagram shortly, but you can see the riders are really suffering now. So saving energy, just getting the job done is kind of the name of the game now for a lot of people. So I've put that on my Ride with GPS collection, so you can have a look at that. You can compare for yourself. And see the kind of options there. So I'll do a little bit of social media now. I'm hoping there'll be a load more. The media cars are all in the south of Europe now. There's not so much in the way of updates from riders now because I think everyone's just totally nailed. And I imagine up in the mountains, signal is not easy to come by. But this was Christof Strasser's Instagram yesterday. He's been doing really good updates daily. I've shown you quite a few of them. So kudos to him. Like he's kept people involved in the race, and part of this racing is the storytelling and finding out what is going on in this thing, and it's it's a bit of a puzzle. It's quite tiring actually just doing dot watching. Not as hard as the race itself, but so here we go. Christof Strasser, that's him as he hit the finish line yesterday at the sailing club in Thessaloniki. Finished final race time, 8 days, 16 hours, 30 minutes. Speechless, happy and exhausted. And I think he really has shown signs of fatigue over the last few days. You can just see it in riders' eyes in some of the photos. And it's not been easy for him. He's had his adversity to tackle on the last parcours section. But he held it together, got his final brevet stamp, and Christof Strasser is now the third 2 times winner of the Transcontinental Race, along with James Hayden with 2 victories and Kristof Allergaert with he got 3 victories, and then I got 1, and there was, who else was it? Oh yes, of course it was. I've forgotten her name now. Oh, that's terrible. But Fiona Kolbinger in 2019. Of course, she won overall. Beat all the women, beat all the men, fastest rider. So yeah, that was another fantastic victory and a bit of a landmark, just proving that, women are equally as capable and if not better than men in these kind of longer races. So let's get across to, I'm going to stick on the Transcontinental Race Instagram because they've just got loads of images coming out of the last few days. So this is the moment that Christof rolled down the seafront in Thessaloniki to the sailing club, and yeah, happy and exhausted, as he said. Just the layers of grime. I remember when I finished my first TCR in 2014. I had 3 or 4 showers, and it finished in Istanbul in Turkey. And then a few days later, I got a Turkish bath. I thought I had quite a good suntan, and then I went into the Turkish bath and got a real good scrub, and it was absolutely disgusting, the amount of dirt and filth that came out of my skin. And you can just see it on these riders now. You just absorb the dirt of the road over the sort of over a week, more than a week. So yeah, well deserved for Kristof there. And then of course our second place finisher, Robin Gempele. He's been a really great competitor, actually, taking the big risks, doing the off-road rides, and really pushing Kristof, to be fair. Kristof has looked very tired, and I don't think it's been a very easy ride for him at all. So yeah, big kudos to Robin. I'm sure he'll be back. He's obviously a very talented bike rider, and still very, very early days for him in his kind of ultra journey. He's won a few races already, but he's only been doing this a couple of years. I'm sure he'll be back, and I'm sure he's got what it takes to win the Transcontinental Race. And there we go, sharing a beer, first and second. Amazing rides for everyone, really. And obviously we've got third and fourth in now, so hopefully tomorrow we'll have some more images of everyone else rolling in, and a bit of an update on that women's battle, because that is going to be, I bet that's going to be really good to watch. So yeah, that's all I've got for you today. I'll be back tomorrow and Saturday as well. So 2 more updates to come. Then I'm off to Kyrgyzstan. So get subscribing, and I'll see you in the morning.